Welcome to Whispers and Confessions. There might be a twist waiting, so please make sure to watch until the end. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's begin right away.
His hands moved tenderly across my chest as his lips found mine in a deep, passionate kiss. A soft moan escaped my lips as his touch sent waves of pleasure through my body, his gentle yet persistent caresses leaving me breathless. It was a crisp autumn night in Princeton, New Jersey. Despite the season's typical chill, the air felt unusually heavy and stifling. I sat at the kitchen table, my eyes fixed on the clock's ticking second hand. In the living room, Michael paced back and forth, his anxiety plainly visible. This was unusual for him. He'd always been the type to speak his mind openly, which made his current unease all the more unsettling. Finally settling into a chair, he clasped his hands together and stared at the floor. I could tell something big was coming. "Lisa," he said, his voice weighted with significance. "I want to suggest something different for our relationship." My thoughts scattered like leaves in the wind. Different? Like a vacation or maybe moving somewhere new? I ventured, trying to mask my growing nervousness. Michael responded with a deep sigh. After what felt like forever, he spoke. "What if we invited someone else to join us, just for one night?" My whole body went rigid. I must have misheard him. Then he dropped the bombshell. "It's Jason. His coworker. I'd met him at a few office parties. He's genuine and considerate, and he's expressed interest in us. I thought it might be something special for us." My face felt like it was on fire, and I couldn't pin down whether it was from anger, embarrassment, or something else entirely. My first instinct was to storm out, but surprisingly, curiosity kept me rooted to my seat. "What makes you think this is a good idea?" I managed to ask, fighting to keep my voice steady. Michael leaned in, his expression dead serious. "I think it could add something new to our relationship." The name Jason kept echoing in my head. Tall, handsome, with the kind of presence that commanded attention at any gathering. His suggestion was shocking, yet strangely intriguing. Michael seemed to brace himself for an explosion, but I masked my jumbled emotions and leaned back. "Jason." I whispered his name thoughtfully. Michael's cheeks reddened as he nodded. "I know it sounds crazy. But Lisa, Jason's someone we can trust." I recalled a fascinating discussion about modern art I'd had with Jason at a recent office party, while Michael was caught up in other conversations. Jason's charm was undeniable, but bringing him into our relationship felt like playing with fire. "Have you already discussed this with him?" I asked, feeling heat rise to my cheeks. Part of me needed to know how far these talks had gone, while another part wanted to understand exactly what this would entail. "Yes," Michael replied evenly. "But nothing's set in stone. I made it clear that you'd need to be completely comfortable with it. I won't push you into anything." An unexpected wave of tension washed over me as I sank deeper into my chair. "Do you honestly believe this would strengthen our relationship?" Michael looked relieved that I hadn't immediately shot down the idea. "I think it could. But if you're not interested, we can drop it right now. I just wanted you to know that I trust you enough to even have this conversation." A thick silence descended over the room. His suggestion began to feel more real with each passing second. My heart raced with a mix of anxiety and an excitement I didn't want to acknowledge. While part of me was touched by Michael's profound trust, I couldn't shake the image of Jason, wine glass in hand, flashing that sophisticated smile. The whole situation felt like something out of a dream, or maybe a fantasy. "When can he come?" The words slipped out in a hushed whisper, barely audible, as if saying them any louder would make this surreal situation too real. "Tonight, if you're comfortable with that," Michael whispered back, his voice gentle. "But there's absolutely no rush. This happens on your timeline." My stomach did a flip. Everything was moving so fast, yet I couldn't deny the spark of curiosity flickering inside me. "I need some time to think," I murmured, pushing back from the table. As usual, Michael gave me space, though I felt his eyes follow me as I headed upstairs. In our bedroom, I caught my reflection in the closet mirror. My thoughts were racing. Was I really considering this? What would this mean for Michael and me? And then there was Jason. The thought of him in such an intimate context sent unexpected shivers down my spine, making my pulse quicken. Hours ticked by as I sat in my room, lost in thought, still stealing glances at my reflection. The sound of footsteps snapped me out of my thoughts, and I turned to find Michael in the doorway, his expression a mix of anticipation and concern. "Lisa," he said softly, "Jason's on his way over. But say the word, and I'll call it off." I felt my heart hammering against my ribs. Part of me wanted to put the brakes on this wild situation, but another part was undeniably intrigued. The prospect of stepping out of our comfort zone was both terrifying and thrilling. "Let him come," I breathed, surprising myself. Michael's face broke into a relieved smile, though I could see the nervous energy dancing in his eyes. Half an hour later, I made my way downstairs, trying to keep my composure. Michael was in the kitchen pouring wine, while Jason sat on the couch. When I entered, he rose to his feet, his smile different from any I'd seen before, charged with an intensity that made my breath catch. "Hey, Lisa." Jason's deep voice rolled through the room, each word carefully measured. His gaze held mine, making my skin tingle. "Hi, Jason," I managed, settling next to Michael with an awkward smile. The silence that followed was filled with tension, yet somehow not uncomfortable. As Michael served the wine, we fell into conversation that mimicked a normal evening, but there was nothing normal about it. Every word seemed loaded with meaning, every glance electric with possibility. Jason had always carried himself with confidence, but tonight he radiated an entirely different energy, focused, intense. Michael maintained a calm exterior, but I noticed how his fingers gripped his wine glass just a little too tightly. As the wine worked its magic, the tension began to ease. Jason leaned in, his eyes meeting mine with surprising tenderness. "Lisa, if any of this makes you uncomfortable, just say the word. I can leave right now." His sincerity left me at a loss for words. I glanced at Michael, who gave me an encouraging nod. Drawing a deep breath, I found my voice, steady despite my racing heart. "It's okay." The mood in the room suddenly changed. An electric tension filled the room as we all waited, suspended in anticipation. Michael made the first move, rising and extending his hand to me. Almost instinctively, I took it, letting him guide me to sit beside Jason on the sofa. "We're here because of our trust in each other," Michael said softly, his gaze moving between Jason and me. "And because we want to share this experience together." My heart raced as I nodded. When Jason reached over and took my hand, the simple gesture carried profound meaning. Our eyes locked, and everything felt surprisingly natural, as if falling into place. Michael's hand found its way to my waist as Jason leaned in, closing the distance until our lips met. His kiss started tentatively but soon deepened with unmistakable passion. A warmth coursed through me as I surrendered to this new experience. Michael stepped back slightly, watching with a mixture of desire and wonder in his eyes. After a moment's hesitation, Jason's confidence took over. His hands traced delicate patterns along my arms, leaving trails of electricity wherever they touched, my skin tingling beneath his fingertips. His hands moved tenderly across my chest as his lips found mine in a deep, passionate kiss. A soft moan escaped my lips as his touch sent waves of pleasure through my body, his gentle yet persistent caresses leaving me breathless. There was a striking contrast between Michael's gentle, familiar touch and Jason's bold, confident approach. Each caress and movement held a world of unspoken promises. Michael revealed a different side of himself, moving closer and resting his hand on my waist as he watched us with fascination. "It's okay," he whispered reassuringly. I nodded, overwhelmed by the intensity of my emotions. Our living room had transformed into an intimate sanctuary. Jason drew me closer, his warm breath tickling my skin as his surprisingly tender touches sent shivers down my spine. As he entered me, overwhelming sensations washed over my body. His movements were slow but commanding, creating a perfect rhythm. Michael stayed close, his lips brushing my shoulder while his gentle hands caressed me lovingly. Everything felt intense but right, like a dream come true. I marveled at how we'd arrived at this moment, as the impossible transformed into something beautifully authentic. Michael soon became more than just an observer. He settled beside me, his eyes brimming with deep affection. Jason watched us contentedly, a satisfied smile playing on his lips. As Michael's hands found their way back to my waist, the lingering warmth from Jason's touch reignited my desire. The energy between us grew more electric with each passing moment, while the soft jazz music floating through the air only heightened our shared passion. Michael and Jason, though completely different in their approaches, created an unexpectedly perfect harmony. While Jason awakened new sensations within me, Michael's unwavering trust and love made the experience even more meaningful. The three of us found an unexpected but natural balance. This night felt like a rare gift from the universe itself. By 3 a.m., we were pleasantly exhausted but completely at peace. A comfortable silence enveloped us as we relaxed on the sofa. Through the window, the quiet streets seemed to keep our special night's secrets. Jason maintained his characteristic easy smile as he reached for his shirt. "Tonight was something truly special," he said playfully, though his words carried genuine warmth. Michael chuckled softly, swirling his wine glass thoughtfully. "You kept your word perfectly, Jason. Nothing more, nothing less." His eyes met mine, filled with deep tenderness and love. Jason stood up, adjusting his clothes with deliberate movements. Before leaving, he met my eyes with an intensity that made my breath catch. "Lisa, you're absolutely incredible," he said, his voice rich with sincerity. "Thank you for trusting me tonight." This was truly something special. A warm blush crept across my cheeks as I smiled softly. "Thank you, Jason," I whispered back. After he slipped out the door, the house fell into a different kind of quiet, not empty, but full of unspoken meaning. Michael settled beside me on the couch, drawing me into his embrace. We sat in comfortable silence, letting the weight of our shared experience sink in, each sensation and emotion still vibrating through us. "How are you feeling?" Michael finally asked, his voice tender with concern. I reached up to cradle his face in my hands, taking in every familiar feature. "I'm more than okay," I replied, my voice thick with emotion. His smile spread slowly, radiating the warmth and love that had always been my safe harbor. "I'm happy," he murmured. "I discovered a whole new side of you tonight. You know, at first, I thought seeing you with another man would tear me apart, but watching you, your beauty, your passion, it completely captivated me. Seeing Jason cherish you, I felt this incredible mix of excitement and pride instead of jealousy. I'm so grateful you trusted me enough to share this moment. It's amazing how our love could evolve into something even deeper." He paused, his expression growing serious. "Sure, this was different, maybe even a little crazy. But I need you to know something, Lisa. This doesn't change an ounce of how much I love you. You're still my everything." Tears spilled down my cheeks before I even realized they were forming, not tears of regret or sadness, but of pure relief and overwhelming gratitude. I threw myself into his arms, holding him close as if trying to feel all the love in his words. "I love you, Michael," I whispered against his chest. More than ever before. Later that night, as we lay intertwined, I realized something fundamental had shifted between us. It wasn't just about what we'd done, it was about the profound trust and connection we'd discovered. I'd never imagined I could feel this close to Michael. He wasn't just my husband anymore. He was truly my partner in every sense, someone brave enough to venture into uncharted territory with me, hand in hand. As we drifted off to sleep in our quiet Princeton home, I knew this bold adventure had forever changed the foundation of our relationship. It was our private treasure, something we didn't need to justify or explain to anyone else. It was ours alone, and that was everything it needed to be.